Միջսենյակային դռների մեծ տեսականի իդեալ համակարգի խանութ սրահներում, սկսած 29,900 դրամից։
Former Prime Minister of Tunisia, Mahdi Joma, will sit down with the first analytical tonight. Mr. Joma, thank you so much for this opportunity. Have you been enjoying your short stay in Armenia so far?
It's the first time in Armenia. I arrived a couple of days before to discover the city, Yerevan, to discover people, and I'm really impressed. And I feel comfortable. It's really a clear hospitality, very kind people. So I enjoyed the first contact with Armenia, and I'm happy to participate to this first dialogue as well, where we have many people from different countries, and I'm participating to such dialogue in different countries, in India, in Europe, in the United States, in Africa, and I appreciate the organization, I appreciate the initiative, and I hope that it will be a tradition, because such a space, it offers really the opportunity to all these leaders coming from the world to put the difficulties on the table, to forecast the future, and to go through the solution through the dialogue.
World leaders have gathered in Yerevan right now. You know that we are experiencing a protracted peace process in South Caucasus. And on the one hand, we have strong political will from the side of the Armenian government. On the other hand, we see that Baku protracts the process and brings forth new preconditions every time. What is Tunisia's stance on regional stability when it comes to South Caucasus?
So first, I was really listening. We met His Excellency the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Armenia. They explained to us the process and what is happening. I do believe that we are on the right path. You know, in all the histories of the countries, you have wars, you have conflicts, you have a period of peace. But what we learn from the history, that the only way to get a stable situation is through dialogue. And listening to the Prime Minister, I was comparing the situation here with other situations in the world. If you take Europe, for example, and you see the confrontation between two countries like Germany and France, it was really more violent and more harder than the situation here in the Caucasus. And the conclusion of all this difficult history is that the only way to do is really to admit the coexistence of these people, their right to dispose and to decide for their future, but to accept the others. You know, when you are neighbors, you don't choose anything. The geography is choosing for you. So you have to be convinced that you have to find the way, in a peace way, to live in a peace way. And I think what I understood from the different discussion today, and even yesterday, we started yesterday, that you are on a good path, and there is some difficulties in any transition between a conflict and a war situation and a stable one. There is some difficulty of transition, but I do believe that within a couple of years you will forget that you were in a conflict, and what is the situation or the position of each of the party, you choose the right way of dialogue, and people and the young people will make the rest of that. And I'm sure that I will get the opportunity in the future to visit both countries and to go across the border with a smile from each part.
However, the political will of the side that has won the war can be decisive, and we know that we are experiencing problems with that. One of those problems is that we have two rival concepts of unblocking communications in the region. One is, as you know, the so-called Zanzer Corridor, which basically means one route that combines Azerbaijan with Nakhichevan, and the other is the more comprehensive crossroad of peace that was presented to you during the Yerevan dialogue panels. Which of these concepts does Tunisia support, and Do you believe that your country can have a share in this? Would you be interested in investing in infrastructure in the region?
I think for Tunisia, I'm not the representative of Tunisia. I'm a former prime minister, so
but you are
I'm
very
not,
well acquainted.
No,
with
yes,
the
but Tunisia
positions.
has a clear line on such situation: is to encourage the dialogue, to encourage the communication, to encourage the open doors between the countries. And Tunisia has a big tradition, big diplomatic tradition, and mediation in such conflicts. And I'm sure if you call for the officials in Tunisia, they will be glad to have a contribution, making the dialogue more fluid. And you know, Tunisia is in a corner and has a big history. You know, we have 3,000 years of history. Tunisia is Carthago to know the Armenian people. Knowing more about Tunisia, it's Carthage is Tunis today. The name of Carthage is Tunis today, so it's a big civilization. It's open on Europe, on Africa, on the Middle East, and it's in a cross position. So really we have a good and a large tradition of negotiation of the conflicts, and I'm sure if you call for the officials in Tunisia, they will be happy to help with their experience, but the peace you will make it with your neighbors, and but our experience and everything, you know, myself when I was appointed as Prime Minister, it was following a big internal conflict, really big internal conflict, the post-revolution conflict, and there was a risk of general confrontation in the street. But since we are not a bloody people and wise people, we concluded that the only way to solve the issue is the dialogue. And the dialogue choose the team who will lead the country through the transition. So I think in that side, in that way, Tunisia could help because it has a big, large tradition of dialogue and solving conflicts by dialogue, not by confrontation and weapons.
If we sum up your message to regional powers, would it be peace as a priority?
I think peace is a priority. Peace is the only ground that could help all these people to grow, to develop themselves. And I'm sure what I heard this morning, that in a couple of years we will forget that and we will have open borders, and you will have synergies. And you know, when we are neighbors, even when you are in conflict, if you want to take the positive side of that, even in a conflict, you know much more each other, and you have to just take that as an advantage to be closer and not to be in confrontation. So peace is important. Peace is the door for a nice future, and what I'm feeling here. And don't forget that you are coming from a big and a big figure, a big configuration where you have USSR, you have the NATO, the Occidental, and all this is moving. There is a big geopolitical movement and reconfiguration in the world. And as a country with the size that you have, like us, we are not major actors on that, but we are under the influence of all these changes. So to see that you are around the table today to negotiate the peace, in the meantime, we are not at the end of the cycle of this reconfiguration, global geopolitical configuration and global regional configuration. I think that it's a positive sign, and that's why I'm positive on that. And I think I will come back in a couple of years to discuss about the collaboration you have and the projects that we are building with your neighbor.
The tendencies that we are witnessing today are quite alarming, but if we come back to Tunisia, which is a very good success story of a small state, what are the lessons that you would like to share with Armenia?
I think the most important thing is to be open to your environment. You know, even on economic side, you are not a big market. You cannot do so. If you want to grow, if you want to make a development, it should be in link with your first space, which is your neighbors, your environment, but to be more open, because, and I think that Armenia has the advantage to have many Armenian people in many countries, which is the case of Tunisia as well. And it's really useful to have good relationship, to be open, but I think my experience and the experience of Tunisia, we succeeded in our history, which is 3,000 years, we succeeded each time. We were open to our environment, we are open to the world. And I think Armenia has what has showed, and the participation and the people that were, they are on the path, and that's the most important thing. So, an open economy, good governance, but as well, Armenia could develop some activities like the tourism. I see many nice things here, and it's a way to open the people as well and to get them used with the foreign people. So, open the country, an open mind, good collaboration with your environment, and since you have the reactivity of this size of this country, I think it could be really a successful story and successful way to transform the issues, to transform the conflicts in something of positive, building better future for the young people in the whole region.
Such unprecedented political optimism. Thank you, Mr. Joma.
You're welcome, and le bonjour, salam for all the Armenian people and for the whole people in the region and the whole participants here coming from each corner of the world. And I'm happy to be here, and I hope that it's the first time, but not the last time.
Thank you for your visit.
You're welcome.
Former Prime Minister of Tunisia, Joma Mehdi, sat down with the First Analytical tonight.